Hi everybody, my name is Wiley Buck. I'm an ecologist with Great River Greening, and I'm out here with Amy today. We're at Carlos Avery Wildlife Management Area in Forest Lake. We're out here on this late September day. Colors are starting to turn, including with the wild rice, which is kind of that gold grass right past these cattails here. Big, huge, whole bunch of acres of wild rice back there. It's turned golden. It's at the end of its seasonal cycle, and what it does is it's an annual, so it starts growing every spring, has to start over from seed every spring, grows up, and then starting around 4th of July it sends up its shoots and makes these seed heads, and then it drops its seeds so it can reproduce next year. So what Greening is doing, Great River Greening is doing for wild rice, is that we have been spreading it on these shallow lakes, all right? And you can probably tell by my boots that I'm standing in a little water. They're pretty mucky on the bottom, and this is just great habitat for wild rice. So what we do is, it's our crew that goes out, loads these bags of wild rice that we buy in the bottom of the canoe, and then paddles around and just grabs it by the handful and throws it out. And then technology-wise, we put a GPS unit in the canoe with the crew, so at the end of the day they can download that and see their tracks on the map and make sure they're kind of spreading it evenly. So that's what we do. We've done several hundred acres of wild rice. We're going to do another 80 acres this fall, and yeah, it's really rewarding when it comes up and grows. So wild rice just plays a really important role in the history of the land here. Before this was known as Minnesota State, the Native Americans also really relied on wild rice to collect it, a big carbohydrate source to get through the cold winters. And a lot of the tribes and members still collect it today. There's some of the collect it for their own use, and then they're also collecting it and turning around and selling it. But it's kind of cross-cultural too. The European settlers that came here also found that, you know, it's a great food source and fairly plentiful and a great way to get through the winter. And so there's always been cultural European culture, European American culture that collects it as well, up until modern day. So there's a lot of collectors out there. Yeah, and that's why there's support for helping to come back, because its numbers, wild rice numbers and acres, got really low starting about, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And that's because a couple of reasons. One, we weren't taking care of our water quality, so a lot of farm runoff was getting in there and putting too much fertilizer in the water. And then we were kind of damming up and messing with the water levels too much, putting dams where they shouldn't be, both man-made dams, and then the beaver population went up a lot too. So that kind of flooded out the wild rice. So now there's a big movement, and Greening's part of it, to find these spots that are now good spots to restore wild rice, and all we have to do is pick up the seed from one spot and bring it over and put it down. And that really helps with the wildlife, really helps with the human collection of wild rice, and lets us all enjoy it. And once again, sometimes people go out and collect it from the wild, and then they sell it to a processor, and that's what we see in the stores. All right, well, we found some wild rice that still has its seeds on. Again, it's late September, and most of it has dropped its seeds already. But just behind me, there's a few stalks that had it still, so I brought them back. But yeah, look at this one. This is how tall it gets in just 1 year above the water. Pretty shallow roots, so it can pull out real easily. You want to be careful about that. But then here on the end are the seed heads. Just go around in canoes and knock it off the seeds, and then we get this nice wild rice seed. This is what it looks like in its, I guess it's called raw and unhusked form. And then, you know, for the folks that want to eat it, you have to clean this, break this husk and get to that kernel on the inside. But for our purposes, what we do is we pick this stuff up and then we turn around and we just throw it in the water on a water body that is the right depth and is ready for wild rice. And off it goes. It sprouts the next year, usually. Sometimes it takes 2 years. But yeah, nice seed head. You can see we get quite a few seeds off of just one plant. Falls off really easily when it's ripe. This one I have in my hand right now is a little riper than the other ones. Falling off, a little browner you can see. The green ones aren't really ripe and ready to go, but these browner, tanner ones, they're ready. They're fully formed and ready to go. Let's see if I can open that one up a little bit easier. Yeah, there we go. It's working a little bit better. Get that papery husk off, and yeah, there we go. There's that wild rice seed that we're kind of accustomed to buying and eating. And that's what's behind the bigger piece. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our time together today, and we'll think about this the next time you see wild rice soup at the store or on the menu. It's really a fascinating plant and a lot of fun to work with, you know. And my understanding is that the collectors up north and the processors up north, this is their really busy time of year. They're just cranking it out, putting it in bags and getting it to the stores. So with that, we'll sign off and see you next time.